Yeah. Welcome again to everyone. Thank you for joining. The conversation is scheduled to run for 2 hours between the hours in your time zone. We recognize that yesterday we had people from we had 2 countries, but about 4 cities were represented, at least in Nigeria. We had Jos, we had Bayelsa. I can't remember the other 2 apart from Lagos. And today, we also have 1 person in the UK. Yesterday, we had 2 participants in the UK join us. Today, we have, I think it's the Southwest states that is represented largely here. I can tell that there's Ogun State largely represented in this room this evening. So we would have a conversation between now and 8:15. I'll make the presentation. I'll appreciate if you would take your notes, identify the things you want to make comments on or seek clarifications on, and I'll be glad to take it. And where I cannot provide answers, I'm so happy that a number of the people in this room who are critical elements to my growth are here. Olushola, I need to tell you particularly, I'm going to have to let you know. I'm calling you out specifically because, I mean, so many of the times that we work together, you don't spare me of good compliments. But let me let you know, at least there are a number of people in this room who also are great sources of inspiration for me. In fact, everyone on this call, but I have one of my accountability partners on this call, Architect Benga Alalade. He's on the identity TALP, TALP, and that represents the work he's currently doing. I don't know if anyone can still hear me.
We can, sir.
All right, I was frozen for a bit. Okay, so I was just trying to acknowledge Architect Alalade for the great support all of the time. Also, for all of this, but I've taken time to do this very specially because when we talk about producing better results, it's critical to identify people who have been there. And I'm going to speak on this principle of relationships later in the conversation, just so that we get proper value for it and I put it in context. All right, without much ado, let's move on. Let's fasten our seatbelt. Okay. So today our conversation will be centered around these entire content I'm currently sharing on your screen. Please confirm you can see my screen. If you can I see you just notify me in the chat, or if you can just unmute to say yes, you can.
Yes, we can, sir.
Great. Slasher, oh, good. Welcome. Welcome. Good to see you, sir. All right. So we will go have this conversation in 3 modules. We will talk about understanding the priorities of new beginning. what exactly should you be doing at the new beginning? When you're starting something new, what exactly should you be doing? What should you be paying attention to? And what is the order of the activities that you need to do? What's the order of the activities you need to do when you commence? It's important to know the order. It's important to know, it's important to know what you need to do. And it's also important to know the order, right? Secondly, we're going to look at what we need to do in pursuit of the vision. We're going to look at 7 domains of life. I'm going to have to share with you a bit of research I've done around what exactly are the areas of life one needs to pay attention to. And no one here is ignorant of those areas of life. I'll try to put a little bit of more information in it. We're going to look at pathways to goal setting. I'm going to be sharing with you a principle that allows us to set goals. And then I'll be introducing you to a new framework that I feel will enable you capture all of your pursuits. And that's a goals grid. I've not named it. I could have named it Olumuyiwa's goals grid. I'm not sure. I don't know what to name it yet. Maybe architect Owesheni will help me with that later on, or Slasher, because these are the guys who do well in that area. Then ultimately, we'll come back to talk about levers of results. In talking about levers of results, I will identify for you, what are those targets? What are those things that you should target if your results must be different? What are those things that will influence the kind of results that you generate? And then we'll talk about resources that you require for producing results. And I've listed them as people, money, technology, strategy, information, and time. And then we'll conclude, and I'll share a bit of references. Maybe I should tell you already that my references in this conversation are on our major slides. So when you look at this major slide, you'll find a book reference just by the side. These are the things that I'm recommending to you. Now, so the first book reference is over the top on the left side there by a man called Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar was the one who said, don't be a wandering generality, be a meaningful specific. Don't be a wandering generality, be a meaningful specific. The idea of not wanting to be a wandering generality is to say, there's something you've got to pay attention to. You can't go all about beating about, scattering yourself everywhere. You've got to be targeted. Your pursuit has got to be pungent. You've got to be definite in the things you want to do. So also, if you have read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, one of the 13 principles of personal achievement suggests that you've got to have, in fact, it's the first principle, which is having a definite chief aim. Having a definite chief aim. And so having a definite chief aim is one of those things that we need to have. And for that purpose, today, this evening, our overall aim is to equip you. My desire is to have you equipped with the insights you require to drive success at your personal level, at the team level, and at the organizational level. I recognize a number of us here are entrepreneurs. Ms. Aladale is here. She runs a fantastic chain of stores for children's wares and everything children. It's called Mo Kiddies World. And I'm happy to have her here. A number of us work around teams. I see architect Okbe here, who is also part of the, architect Okbe, welcome, sir, who is also part of the group, the design group of the Arc Legacy Project. I'm excited to have you in here as well. So my objective is to see if I can equip you with further insights. Then what specifically will I want you to see? More specifically, I want you to understand yourself. I'm going to unravel what I call the triune nature of the human being in a bit. And the idea is to help you see who you are and what you possess. I'm also going to do a very simple yet profound activity to help you appreciate your uniqueness. I'm going to look at what I call the characteristics of living things. That's it. The characteristics of living things. And I'm going to share with you what things they mean to us. For those of us who are itching to produce results, what do those things mean to us? Then I'm going to share with you what things you need to consider to make the most of your time. And ultimately, we'll see how we can explore the levers of success that I've initially mentioned. Now, fasten your seatbelt and let's go on. As an introduction, there's a book here I'm recommending to you again. It's titled Your Roadmap for Success. It's a book written by one of my role models and someone who has also influenced the kind of way I've lived my life and the kind of things I've done and I'm currently doing, Mr. John C. Maxwell. And he has said in his book that success is knowing your purpose in life. Success is growing to reach your maximum potential. Success is sowing seeds that benefit others. Our conversation on producing better results can be equated to becoming more successful in the things that you're doing. So when we talk about producing better results, the conversation around how can I become more successful? And to become more successful, you've got to rise up to your responsibilities of knowing, growing, and sowing. The responsibility of knowing, you've got to go on a discovery journey. I'm going to explore that also in a bit. And then you've got to grow. Friends, you are not good enough to remain the way you are. I mean, if anybody knows the strength of the people in this room, all of us here are experts in our various ways. But the reason you've chosen to come into this room today is because you understand that you are not good enough to remain like this. At least a little bit here, a little bit there, a new perspective about how people get things done will possibly help you more. And that's why you're here. So I don't take your coming here for granted. You are not ignorant. You just want to have more perspective. And you also just want to have maybe a little more insight to reinforce some of the things you're doing. So you have a responsibility here, responsibility of knowing. How many things do you know? How many more things do you need to know? And then you have a responsibility of growing. You want to be able to do more. You want to be able to have a capacity to do more. And we'll talk about capacity also in a little while. And then you want to sow seeds that benefit others, because if your results, if the things you produce as outcomes of your efforts do not impact people, if they do not impact teams, if they do not impact communities, if they do not impact societies, if they do not impact organizations, then you possibly cannot say that you have really truly succeeded. All right. So let's dive a little deeper into what exactly are those responsibilities? Because when we say your responsibilities of knowing, growing, and sowing, I've tried to help you break it down here. Oyebala, if you look at the slides, you can see that it's been improved from yesterday's conversation because of the people who made contributions even afterward. All right, so you've got 4 responsibilities here. You've got 4 responsibilities, and your responsibilities are surrounded around 1, discover. It's clockwise, all right? Everybody's clockwise, starting from discover. You've got to discover your potential. You've got to discover your relationships, the relationships that you will carry along the journey. And you've got to discover the opportunities that you've got to leverage on to make the most of your potential and make the most of your relationships. Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot produce results without uncovering your capabilities. And that's a journey towards discovering your potential. I'm going to help you with a few things today just to help you unravel that. You've also got to discover the relationships, the people contact, whether at the individual level or at an association level, institutional level. You've got to discover people that you need, because 1 is too small a number to achieve greatness. 1 is too small a number to achieve greatness. If you really want to achieve greatness, you want to really produce better results, you've got to be, open enough to have more people join you on that journey. Okay, so the 3rd is to discover opportunities. Friends, all of your potential, all of the ideas that you generate, they must find expression through certain activities. And opportunities are those doorways, are those pathways wherein we can deploy our abilities. The second thing that you have a responsibility for is to develop those potentials. Friend, A lifelong learning commitment is what enables you to become a better person. We're talking about producing better results. And until you develop your abilities, until you develop your potential, until you groom yourself, you may not be fit for the bigger things you see tomorrow. Some of us, for those of us who are here, if you have been one who has measured your progress and your transitions and transformations a lot, you will realize that the way you used to respond to matters 5 years ago is not the same way you respond today. The reason is this: you've grown. Excuse me. You have grown. Friend, if we grow through life, we will not grow in life. If you grow through life, you will not grow in life. There's no stress for the one who commits himself to stretching. You will not stress yourself when things come, when there's an increased workload on you, when there's an increased demand on your potentials, on your skills, on your resources. You will be able to deliver more because you have grown. You also got to develop your relationship. You've got to nurture the relationships that you have. It's okay to know that people are there for you, but it's a lot better, when we know that the people who are in your life are in touch with the things that you're doing. There's no one in this room that doesn't have a personal relationship with me. Everyone in this room, we have had one personal relationship or the other, and it's been fruitful. It's been a progressive one, and it's one that I'm grateful for. So, number 3, you've got to develop opportunities. You see, opportunities are wrapped in work clothes. Opportunities are wrapped in work clothes. Opportunities are wrapped in work clothes. If you don't engage from a place of work, you possibly will miss the value that they carry. Opportunities are wrapped in work clothes. If you don't embrace them from a perspective of work, you will miss out on the value and the benefits they carry. The third critical responsibility that you have is to deploy. Now that you have discovered your potential, now that you're developing your potential, you've got to let them work. You've got to deploy your capabilities, because if you don't deploy your capabilities, you will not be able to experience greater results. It's not enough to know that you've got the strength to lift a 50 kg dumbbell. It's not enough to know that you have that strength. You've got to deploy that strength. You've got to commit those things to work. You've got to engage them. It's not enough to know that you have friends. I'm talking about resources now. It's not enough to know that you have friends or you have monies that can help you procure opportunities or procure tools for work. You've got to deploy them, commit them to work. Commit them to work. It's important to do that. Okay? You've got to commit them to work. And finally, your critical responsibility number 4 is to deliver results. Friends, effort oftentimes is meaningless when goals are not achieved. Effort is meaninless when goals are not achieved. Effort is meaninless when goals are not achieved. You've got to be able to produce results. The essence of your journey in discovery, the essence of your development journey, your effort in development, the effort of your committing to deploying your capabilities is to produce results. What is that tangible outcome of your life? Maybe I should say this here, friends. When we talk about producing better results, we're saying we want to have better outcomes. And better outcomes for us will mean better experiences. You want to have something that validates the quality of your input, your efforts. And like my mentor will always say, results terminate insults. If you don't want people to insult you, knowing that there's an expectation of how much value you bring to the table, then you got to produce results. Now, let's dive a little deeper. As we introduce this conversation today, what exactly is producing better results? 3 key things here. Producing better results is about taking responsibility for your experiences. So the word produce put a bit of work on you. You've got to take responsibility for your experiences. Friends, I'd like you not to consider yourself to be one who is called the lifeline of the neurotic. The lifeline of the neurotic is the one that makes everyone else responsible for the outcomes of your life. The lifeline of the neurotic is holding other people up and responsible for a negative outcome in your life. When it's negative, you hold other people responsible. But you see, we have a responsibility for our experience. You've got to be 100% committed to the things that you want to see in life. All right? So producing better results suggests taking responsibility for your experiences. So this conversation today is not about any other person but you. I'm going to be unraveling you, what you bring to the table, and possibly showing you more than you that you possibly do not know it before now. Number two, producing better results. The word there is key. Second key word there is better. You've got to know how to assess the contributory factors to your results. Friends, the things that cannot be measured cannot be improved. You've got to set your result, the outcomes of your life, in such a way that you can measure. You've got to know how far you have gone, how far you have come, and how much left you've got to cover. Because if you are not able to assess the things that contribute to your success, guess what? You will not know if you're improving or becoming stagnant. And guess what? No one can actually remain stagnant. You know why you can't remain stagnant? Because the world is moving. If you are waiting, many things are going on. And really, you are not really waiting. You are actually being left behind. And so this conversation will show you how to assess the contributory factors to the results you want to see in life. And thirdly, the third keyword here is results. How exactly do we want to produce results? Results here for us means goal setting and expectation management. How do you manage the expectation that you have? Slasher, can you tell me, Dolapo, you're also here. Can you tell me, what do you see under that results? Can you explain what you think about the results icon there? There's a couple down there. Can you just tell us from your own perspective, what do you think is happening there?
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I feel that the other one is pregnant of something, and the expectant of what it will deliver, sir.
Okay, nice. Slasher, are you still here?
Yes, I am. So
all right.
I feel like after a lot of inputs, what would terminate the insults they've been getting with a lot of inputs that they've been putting in is the results that they're about to get. This beautiful couple are like a team, and they've done so much. They should get a bouncing baby results. Thank you.
Amazing. I'm sure I was not the only person that laughed the way you tried to explain it. All right. So this is what we're talking about here. Take responsibility, be 100% committed, learn how to capture the things you want to pursue, and ultimately set goals. So now we move. Let's now understand the priorities of new beginnings. I'm recommending another book here, it's titled Starting Strong. Hoping that you'll look for it. Once we share the slides with you, you'll get it. Here, at the beginning of every venture, at the beginning of any activity, at the beginning of any engagement, there are lists of activities that you know will contribute to the success that you have envisioned. You are on a journey towards significance, and you have listed a number of things that you've got to do. But now the question is this: what exactly are the priorities? In what order should you do the things that you have listed? Friends, because our energies are limited, and they get depleted by use, we've got to know how to deploy them. Otherwise, our tasks and activities will never get completed. I'll say that again. Because our energies are limited, and by engagement, they get depleted if we don't deploy them appropriately by a means of prioritization. Then the task ahead of us will never get completed. We have visions of the future, goals of the future, but you've got to know the priorities. What should be your top considerations when commencing your success journey? Is there an order in which all required steps for success needs to be taken? Now, let me help you. In fact, let me use a previous slide to explain this. You can see this man here looking at the world, and I want to anchor my conversation around that. I've done a bit of study on the creation story from maybe a religious bent. I've done a bit of that. And the truth is this. There were three challenges that I identified that the creator was confronted with. And see, at the commencement of a new year, such as we are in now, and it can also be at the commencement of a new venture. It can be at the commencement of a new relationship. It can be at the commencement of a new task or journey. Perhaps you want to have a new certification. At the commencement of these things, just like a creator, you will be confronted with a few challenges. You'll be confronted with a few challenges. Number one is the challenge of vision. We are told by the creator's journey, the documentation of the creation story, that in the beginning, the world that we live in today was without form. So there was a formlessness challenge. There was no structure. Number two, it was void, suggesting that there was an emptiness challenge. Emptiness challenge. Number three, we're told that darkness was upon the face of the deep. So there was an illumination of vision problem. Now, these are the activities, these are the challenges anyone that is about to start a journey, just as you're starting a new year now. These are the challenges you'll be faced with. The formlessness challenge, which talks about structure. The emptiness challenge, which talks about resources that you require to fulfill your expected end. And then the illumination challenge, or the darkness challenge, which is the vision problem. Now, if these three things are the challenges you will face, then what exactly is the priority? What order do you need to take in addressing them? Even though for us it was introduced, formlessness challenge was the first to be introduced to us. And the next challenge that was introduced was the resources challenge. The third challenge that was introduced to us was the vision challenge. But what exactly is the order in addressing this challenge? Friends, you do not want to put the cart before the horse, because it's not so much about identifying the problems or identifying the activities you need to do. You need to know in what order. Remember, I told you that our capacity, our capabilities are limited. And because by engagement, they get depleted. If you go and do something that you ought to do as number 4 first, guess what? You may not have the strength and the energy to do the first one. Now, the creator's story, the documentation of the creation story suggests that the first challenge that the creator identified was the vision problem. By a declaration, he said, "Let there be light. Let there be light." So the vision problem is solved first. So the priority of your new beginning requires and puts a demand on you to, first of all, have a vision. And we're going to get to that place of having to help you set a vision today. We're going to talk about how to set the goals. I'm going to show you a framework that I think would be so phenomenal for you to embrace. Recall, this conversation is about you taking responsibility. You have got to take responsibility. So today, the conversation here is about you working really, really, really hard. I'm going to put a lot of assignments on your table, because the results you want to see is not going to come by wishful thinking. The results you want to see in life is not going to come by wishful thinking. You've got to do more than you're currently doing, okay? Now, after that, we're told that the Creator said, let there be a firmament in the waters that separates the waters above the firmament and another set of waters below the firmament. The second challenge that the Creator started to resolve was the structure problem. He started to put a structure. How do I want this earth to look? How do I want to frame it? And then we had what we call the sky division. We had the land division, and then we have the waterways division. Today, when we talk about anything transportation in the world, we understand that those three forms, those three divisions are the things that capture it anyway. The skies, the land, and then the waters. So we have waterways, the ships run on it, the boats run on it. And then on the land, we have the road transport, we have the rail, and then the skies, we have our private jets and all of those things. Now, the third thing, the third order is the resources. And then the Creator now began to say, you know what? What exactly do I need in these spaces? He made great lights to appear. He told the birds to appear in the skies. He created sea creatures. And then on land, he had to tell the trees, just as you see beside me here, the trees to come up. This one is not bearing fruit yet. I don't know what's happening. It's not bearing fruit, but all the things that the Creator created bore fruits, and that's it. Now, those are the priorities of a new beginning. Vision must precede structure. And the structure is what will maximize your resources. Your resources are limited. Your resources are limited. If you don't take a time to have a structure in place, you will waste those resources. And so, friend, as you go on in this year, itching to know how to get better results, my first question to you is this: do you have a vision? If you don't, perhaps at the end of this conversation today, I will help you set a target for you to pursue. Number two, do you have a framework for the things that you want to do? Because if you don't have a framework, even though you have ideas, you're likely not going to be able to, they're not likely to be able to help you succeed and produce results. And number three, have you identified the resources you need to produce results? Now, vision precedes structure, and structure maximizes resources. What is vision? Vision is framing the future. Vision is framing the future by the use of imagination and planning. Friends, what do you see ahead of you? You've got to be able to document the things you see ahead of you. And this is a very big problem for many people. Many people do not know how to find a vision. And today we're going to be solving that problem for you. We're going to be helping you articulate the things you should pursue. Because the things you want to pursue ultimately are the results you want to experience. What we call goals, what we call visions, are the experiences you want to have. They are the outcomes that you want to commit your efforts into. And those are the results that we're talking about. Now, what is a structure? A structure refers to how your activities are directed towards the achievement of a vision. If you look on your screen, I drew what looks like an organizational chart. I have there like an organizational chart. There are people in your life. What roles do they play? There are resources in your life. You've got tools of work. You've got strategies, and I'm going to talk about that towards the tail end of this conversation. How are they positioned, and what do they work together? How do they work together? How do you get your money and your brand identity to work together to produce the kind of results you want? What roles do you give the people in your life? Are there people there, just like I told you earlier on, Atiala Living, my accountability partner? What roles do people have in your life? Perhaps the reason you're not getting so much from the people you relate with is because you have no expectation of their presence in your life. And then finally, resources. What supplies can you draw on in order to function and execute your activities? What are the things that are available to you to engage in order to produce the kind of results that you want? Now, friends, let me take a break here and ask you to please think deeply about our first set of conversations. We're getting into a very technical place now where I'll be sharing with you basically how to set goals, but I'm going to unravel to you first. So the question is this: do you now understand the priorities of new beginnings? I'd like to take a few comments here before we proceed. What exactly do you understand in this first portion of our conversation, the priorities of new beginnings? I'm happy to take a few comments. I'm happy to take a few comments. Is everything correct? Are you okay? Oyebola? I'm happy to take a few comments. Shola? Joshua? Okay, looks like you left me here. Am I sure I'm here with you? Have I lost everybody? Okay, somebody's chatting. Let's see who's that. We are aligned. Okay, shall I ride on? Okay, thank you. I understand this kind of a language. Now let's go into the module 2. In Pursuit of Vision. And here I have a recommended text for you. It's titled In Pursuit of Vision by my mentor, Dr. David Oyedepo. Thank you, Ms. Alalade. Exploring the Virtues of Divine Guidance. Now, that's a recommended text. In this conversation, in this module, I'm going to share with you 7 domains of life. Which areas of your life should you be focusing on? In fact, how have you structured your life? You know, we just talked about vision, structure, and resources. How exactly have you structured your life? And so the 7 domains of life shows you a structure for your life. So I'm going to be helping you now identify what frames your life should be designed on. And number 2, I'm going to show you how to set goals. What are the pathways to finding, mark the word, credible goals? What are the pathways to finding credible goals? And number 3, I'm going to show you a goals grid. And what are the elements of your pursuits? And that goals grid will require that you work a lot. You're going to have to populate the goals grid to be able to produce results for yourself in this new year. Now, let's understand who you are. From research, I have found out that you are essentially spirit. You are essentially spirit. You live in a body and you've got a soul. And these 3 elements of your nature, there's triune nature. You're one being anyway, just don't get it wrong. You're one person, but you've got dimensions of your nature. And in a bit to help you understand how you are framed, we're saying you've got a spirit, you've got a soul, you are a spirit, you've got a soul, and you live in a body. And that puts a structure to the kind of life you need to live. Now, what we're doing here is to help you design the structure of your life. So the spirit dimension of your life gives you a structure of a spiritual life. You've got a spiritual life. And I'm going to explain that to you. You've got a spiritual life. The soul dimension of your life gives you 5 areas of life. You should structure your life in those 5 areas. Number 1 will be your emotional life, intellectual life, social life, financial life, and then your work life. Then you have the 3rd part of your being, which is your body. And that makes you have a structure for your physical life. And so, friends, you've got 7 elements of your life structure: your spiritual life, your emotional life, your intellectual life, your social life, your financial life, your work life, and then your physical life. Now I'll take responsibility, I'll take time now to explain to you what these elements will mean. Let me welcome especially my friend, my newest found friend, Ayomide Togbeshi. Thank you for joining. I ensured that your front seat was not taken. Are you here, Ayomide? You're muted in case you're speaking. All right, just to acknowledge and recognize you. All right, now, this is the structure. I know I've talked about vision first. We said vision, structure, and resources, but let me address here for the purpose of where we are going, the structure of your life. I like to recommend that you structure your life across these 7 areas. It will help you to know how to deploy your resources. It will help you to know how to set expectations for yourself. The first is your spiritual life. This is the aspect of your life that connects you to higher dimensions of living beyond what your physical senses can access. There are things around you that your senses cannot access. Your spiritual life is the one that helps you to connect to a transcending lifestyle. There's a higher being that you relate with. And the spiritual life is that aspect of your life that connects you to that higher dimension. Number 2 area of your life that you need to have a structure for is your emotional life. The aspect of your life that enables you to express your feelings and imperfections. Friends, you need to understand that the results that we will pursue is the one that we feel strongly about. Anything that we want to pursue and see as results are things that we feel strongly about. If you don't have a deep affection towards anything, you possibly will never pursue it. And so you've got to have a structure, a frame for your emotions. Number 3 is your intellectual life. Now, your intellectual life is a part of your life that deals with your mind. Your mind is your creation zone. Your mind is your decision zone. Your mind is your processing zone. Your mind is your evaluation zone. This is the aspect of your life So your intellectual life is that aspect that enables you to think. So check your mind. Lost you for a second. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, sir.
Yes, we can.
Hello? Am I here by myself? Hello?
We can hear you, sir.
We can hear you now.
I'm not sure I can hear anybody. I don't know if anybody can hear me.
We can hear you loud and clear, sir.
Wow. Oh, you can hear me. Okay, I couldn't hear you. Thank you, architect. All right. I can't recall how I left the meeting, and I don't know what last thing you heard, but so what was last thing you heard? Okay. I want to be sure I didn't miss you so much because I just kept talking. All right. But, the mind being the processing room. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. All right. So there's a third element of your structure of your life, which is the intellectual life. This is the place where your mind operates. It helps you to process things, helps you to assess things, helps you to evaluate things, helps you to make decisions. This is where you process considerations, suggestions. This is where you process possibilities. This is where you determine whether you should pursue or not to pursue a thing. And this aspect of your life enables you to think, access knowledge, and produce ideas and decisions. Then there is your social life, which is the fourth element of the structure of your life that I'm recommending to you. Your social life is that aspect of your life that involves how you relate with others. Friends, you see, it's important to have a structure on how to relate with other people. Many of us just, engage our friends, our family, our colleagues, our associates. We engage them whichever way life comes. But it's the structure of your life because they're critical. We are relational beings. And as such, we must make provision for that aspect of our life. So the aspect of your life that involves how you relate with others, whether it be by sharing, competing, or collaborating, is your social life. Then we have the remaining part of your life, your financial life. Well, we won't talk about your financial life, and I'm sure many of us love this part. Your financial life is that aspect of your life that is concerned with the management of monies earned, saved, invested, and controlled. Can I get a bit of your attention on this slide? And I want to help you identify how to set a target income. I've been using this now for a few years because, when I had a decision, when I needed to determine how much exactly should I earn in my life, many of us choose a particular approach. We set our target income to match with our current lifestyle. CLS, that means current lifestyle. If you're watching the screen, you see it. CLS, that means your current lifestyle. If your target income is going to match your current lifestyle, friends, you will never be ready for the opportunities of the future. So when you think about your financial life, it's important to, when you think about your target income, I'm recommending here that you put FFG, your future financial goals. And what are your future financial goals? Your future financial goals can be divided into two: assets and improved lifestyle. Maybe I should explain what your current lifestyle means. Your current lifestyle is everything you spend money on. And these also can be very good for organizations. Your current operations, that's just for you, be CEO, all right? Your current lifestyle as an individual, what you currently spend money on, all of your obligations, all of your responsibilities, money for school, money for living, clothes, rent. Everything you spend money on is your current lifestyle. Your assets are the things that you want to own. What exactly do you want to own that you do not have? So when we talk about assets here, these are things that you want to own that you don't have. There are things that you own that you don't have, right? And then ILS are things that you want to improve on. For example, if you've got a car, say a 2005 Toyota Highlander, an improved lifestyle will mean that you are planning to get maybe a 2016 edition of the same Toyota Highlander. And so when you put together all the monies that will help you fulfill your current lifestyle, and then you have what it would take to acquire certain assets that you don't have at all, and then you want to add also the elements that will help you improve your lifestyle. Perhaps you're living in a one-bedroom, You were living in a 1-bedroom and you want to go into a 2-bedroom, that's improved lifestyle. You got to make provisions for it. When you add all of these things together, they become your target income. This is not a personal finance class. We'll come back to talk about personal finance in some other sessions that we will have, but just thought to put this here. We'll talk about it again. We'll come back to this particular conversation when we talk about resources. Now, the next part of your life is your work life. So we've talked about your spiritual life, your emotional life. We've talked about your intellectual life. We've talked about your social life. We talked about your financial life. Now let's talk about your work life. Recall earlier on when I told you have 4 responsibilities: to discover, to develop, and to deploy. Your work life is that point of life where you Just a few participants there. Okay, let's stay here. Your physical life is that part, your work life is that part of your life where you engage your capabilities. You want to be able to deploy your competences, your capacity to produce things that will add value to others. Your work life for you will be your commitment to your business or your commitment to your career. If you're running a business, this is which is your physical life. And this aspect of your life is concerned with your health and wholeness. This part of your life is concerned with your health and wholeness. Here, you want to be able to be sure that you can be available for so long. Friends, can I be honest with you? The vision that you're about to create using our goals grid, that vision, that future you want to create requires that you're on this earth for so long. And because your body is what keeps you in this material part of the world, you've got to take care of it. And so, friends, we have here before you 7 elements of how you should structure your life. Can I have you please join me as we try to echo it together? The first part of your life is what? As we have it on the screen.
Spiritual life.
Spiritual life. Number 2.
Emotional life.
Emotional life.
Emotional life. 3.
Intellectual
Intellectual life.
Intellectual life. 4.
Social life.
Social life. 5.
Financial life.
Financial life. 6.
Work life.
Work life. And 7.
Physical life.
Life. So you've got, this is the structure. This is how I'm recommending that you structure your life. Now, let's go a little deeper and talk about who you are. And I'm not going to spend so much time here. You're a unique being. When God, the creator, made all of us, he gave us natural features. And I'm going to give you some affirmations to make in this on this particular slide. If you can see very well on the screen, I've tried to outline and make bold the first letters of the words I have on the screen. They read Mr. Niger D. What is Mr. Niger D? Dolapo, what is Mr. Niger D? Mr. Niger D is characteristics of living things, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, nice. So every living thing, and you are a living being. You are a living being. And so you have got to express these unique attributes. Number one, movement. I like you to say to yourself that you are an advancing personality. I am an advancing personality. The second is respiration. That feature of life that makes us a living being is respiration. Excel means we're contributing to other elements in the ecosystem. Number three, nutrition. That is, we have a duty of care. We have a duty of care to ourselves. Irritability, which is being sensitive and discerning. You've got to be sensitive and discerning. You have what it takes to be sensitive and discerning. The next is growth. You are increase driven. You are increase driven. Whether you like it or not, there's a part of you that wants more. And then excretion is an element of your being. Excretion is an element of your being, and that suggests that you are resourceful. You know how to make the most of resources. You know how to make the most of resources. And then finally, reproduction. You are a people developer. You are committed to developing other people. You are committed also to developing yourself. You want to contribute to other people's growth and development. And then death. Death here refers to the fact that you have a gaze on legacy. You have a focus on leaving a legacy behind you. And so these are your unique attributes. And I'd like you to please, if you can, unmute your mics and let's have this affirmation. Say this affirmation after me. I am an advancing personality.
I am an advancing personality.
I am contribution driven.
I am contribution driven.
I have a duty of care.
I have a duty of care.
I'm sensitive and discerning.
I'm sensitive and discerning.
I'm increase driven.
I'm increase driven.
I am resourceful.
I am resourceful.
I am committed to people development.
I'm committed to people's development.
I will live to leave a legacy.
I will leave a legacy.
All right, that's an affirmation that confirms that you agree with the uniqueness of your being. Now, friends, in tidying up the structure of your life, please know that your uniqueness rides on the following things. And I'm asking you here, what makes you stand out? I'm answering this question, what makes you stand out? Number one is your pursuits. You are not the same with other people because your goals and aspirations are not the same. Please celebrate your uniqueness. The reason you're not like Olushola or Alakite Benga, or you're not like Ayomide, is not because that you're lesser. It's because your goals and aspirations are different. Number two, things that makes you stand out, your philosophy, the things that are your guiding principles. Organizations talk about core values. What else makes you stand out? Your perspective, the viewpoints and your opinions on matters and on issues of life. What else makes you stand out? Your passions, the things that you are interested in. What else makes you stand out? Your approach and methods, your plans and programs, the things and the way you want to get your things done. What makes you stand out? Your partners, the people you choose to relate with. Having said this, friend, now let me help you. And if you have your notes, if you're writing, you possibly will do well to keep more notes now. We're getting into the point where we would help you create the goals. Now we have talked about structure. We've just concluded the conversation around structure. Remember, we started by saying the priorities of new beginnings require that you do vision, structure, and then resources. Vision, structure, and then resources. Now we have just concluded the conversation around structure. We have given you 7 elements or 7 areas of your life, how your life should be structured. Whew, thank God. Now, the next is to help you define and design your vision. Here, we're going to be embracing the principle of curiosity. The principle of curiosity requires that you ask questions. You ask questions. If you recall at the beginning, we said that one of the 4 key responsibilities you have is to discover. So a discovery journey is a journey of inquiry. A discovery journey is a journey of inquiry. And so I'm going to be asking you here to ask yourself a few questions. And please follow me. This is not the time you should leave this meeting. This is not a time you should get tired, so that you can put the pieces together. Don't forget the piece on your structure. Now we're about to create another piece. Remember, we're producing better results. Now, on the screen, you have the pathways to creating goals, the pathways to defining your vision. The first question I want to ask you is, and I think you should ask yourself is, what can I create? What can I start? What can I initiate? What can I introduce? You see, these questions helps you to identify certain things. Your response to these questions will unravel the things you should pursue. I don't know if you heard me. Your response to these questions will unravel the things you should pursue. Many of us cannot actually sit down. A number of us cannot actually sit down and just, determine what we should pursue. But I can help you. And you possibly can also use this to help somebody else. If you ask yourself, what can I create? What can I start? What can I initiate? And what can I introduce? Whatever you get as a response becomes a target. Whatever you get as a response becomes the result you want to experience. Number two, second question, what can I improve? What can I refine? What can I tweak? For those friends of ours who are on this call that are designers, sometimes what you set out to design is not what you eventually build, because in the course of building, you adjust, you make modifications here and there. And if we are trying to design the kind of experience we want to have in the future, the kind of result we want to experience, then this question becomes very vital. What can I improve? What can I refine? What can I tweak? Like I said in the first one, becomes the target of your life. Whatever becomes your response to this question becomes the things that you want to see happen in your life. Now, the third one, I marked this red because I'm not sure I want you to focus on it. The question here is, what can I stop or discontinue? And I don't want you to ever use this set of questions to define your goals, because we're told that our lives will gravitate towards our most dominant thoughts. Our lives will gravitate towards our most dominant thoughts. If you choose to ask questions like this, you will be focusing on the things that you don't want to see. If you choose to ask questions like this, you'll be paying attention to the things that you do not want to experience in your life. So rather than say, what can I stop or discontinue? Your focus should be on what can you create? Now let's go on to the third question I wanted to focus on. Whew, I've run out of time. Pardon me, I'm going to have to pace up a little bit. And this is a technical part. If you get this part, we're good. We're home and dry. The fourth thing I want you to pay attention to is the word replicate. The word replicate. And in replication, this is what I'm saying. If what you want to create comes from within you, if what you want to improve comes from within you, there are certain pursuits of your life. There are certain pursuits of your life that come from, there are certain pursuits of your life that come from the things that you see others do. There are certain pursuits of your life that come from the things that you see others do. And so the question is this: who are the people that will influence you? Because what you see in your role model, what you see in your mentor, what you see in your coach, what you see in your sponsor, these things, the things you see in their lives, become things that you want to experience for yourself. Sometimes the result we want to experience is what we have observed in other people's lives. If you look to your right, this is the first time I'm sharing, or the second time, yesterday was the first, that I'm sharing with us here a model I'm toying with. I'm tweaking this model. On the left base of this triangle is your current experiences. You can call it your current results, the things that you are currently experiencing in your life, the current outcomes that you are living your life by. On the right base of the triangle is your target experiences, which invariably is where you want to go. These are the things you want to experience. These are the new results you want to have, okay? The new results you want to have. At the peak of the triangle is what we call observed experiences. Your observed experiences are the results that you see in your role model, your mentor, your coach, or your sponsor. These are the things that you are attracted to. You like the way your role model has been able to do X things. You like the way your role model or your role model has been able to achieve these goals, and you want to have such in your life. It becomes your observed experiences. Now, let me help you here. The journey starts from your current realities, your current results, your current experiences. And I'm asking you, if you want to answer the question of what can I replicate, don't go directly to target experiences from your current experiences. Take a journey, follow the arrow, go up to observe, and then take things from the people that you have been able to identify and see which one of those things that you have identified can become or can form part of your target experiences. Good question. And I'm also happy to acknowledge Dr. Cordelia Etuk. Good evening, madam, and good to have you on this call. Thank you for honoring this meeting.
Good evening, Dr.
I'm sure you didn't know I saw you.
I'm so blessed. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you for all you do.
Please carry on. I'm so blessed to be here. Thank you so much. And good evening,
you,
everyone.
All right. Welcome, madam. Now, I would have loved to delve so much on who your role model is, who your mentor is, who your coach is, and who your sponsor is. I'll skip all of that because you're going to get the material. Now, the first question is, who do you want to replicate the results? Now, the second question, while we're still trying to address what can I replicate, is you look at these people and you observe. Here, you now identify the things that you want to adopt or adapt. You have seen your mentor produce certain kinds of results and you like it. You're attracted to it. You've seen what your role model does. You've seen what your coach has exposed your mind to certain things and you want to have it. Here, you begin to document your observations. You begin to document your desires in the lives of those that you've seen. Results requires the input of others as well into your life. Now, having done that, then you come to the question. See, the key word in that question is can. And the word can suggests your capacity. Friends, our capacities are the difference makers in the things that we bring to life in our results. The results that we share, the results that we experience is dependent on our capacity. Oftentimes, competence is not the difference maker. Oftentimes, capacity is the difference maker. Firstly, you have identified the people that you want to replicate their results. Secondly, you have documented what you desire and what things you are attracted to from them. The next is you now want to ask yourself, what can I actually pursue? I love this. I love that. I desire this. I'm attracted to this. But what can I? And that's a journey into capacity. Friends, when we talk about capacity, You know you can build your capacity, you can extend your capacity by stretch tasks. Ms. Alalade, I mean, the capacity of Mo Kiddies World today is expanded because you've opened a new store.
Yes, sir.
Because if you had retained one store, one outlet, you possibly will not be able to meet more demands coming on you. If you don't run your stores online, you possibly also will be limiting how many people's demand you can. About capacity being the difference maker. Your ability to sell children's clothes and children's wares is not just enough. There are possibly many other people doing the same business you're doing. There are many other people who can design buildings like you can design. There are many other people who can coach people like you can coach. But the difference is, if you have many more demands on your competence, can you deliver? Your inability to deliver is the reason other people are having better results than you. And so capacity is the difference maker. And three ways to improve your capacity is to stretch yourself, take on tasks that stretch you and not stress you, take risks, and then volunteer. Look at the table there. Look at the diagram I have on the screen there. There are 4 balls. More of. Anyone help me? Which of these bottles do you want to have more of? No one.
Stretch tasks.
The 5 liter keg, right? You want to have the 5 liter keg more than you want to have the 1.5 liter. Now, the reason is this. The 5 liter keg has the same ability as the 1.5 liter keg. They all can hold water or liquid, but the difference is that it can hold more. And so, friends, when you are asking yourself the question of what can I replicate, always factor in your capacity. Now I welcome you to the goals grid. This program, Producing Better Results, is the first time I'm ever sharing this goals grid. This is one of the most important parts of this conversation. In fact, if we end this conversation here tonight, I will believe I've done well. I'd like to look at this goals grid. Recall in our conversation, we identified the structure of your life. And we said your life should be structured in 7 areas: spiritual life, emotional life, intellectual life, social life, financial life, work life, and physical life. And then we identified the pathways to setting goals, the pathways to having a vision that you want to pursue, the pathways to creating the results you want to experience. And we said we're going to explore the principle of curiosity. And the principle of curiosity asks us to take on 3 questions. What can I create, start, initiate, or introduce? Then I improve. What can I improve? What can I improve, refine, or tweak? Then the 3rd question, what can I replicate? Friends, recall we said at the beginning that producing better results is about you taking responsibility. I am not going to fill or populate this grid for you. If you really want to see results in your life, in this, you please take time to populate this grid. I'm recommending that you should not have more than 3 goals or 3 targets per area, per question. What can I create in my spiritual life? What can I create in my spiritual life? I mean, that would be your pursuits that you want to start, something new you want to start. What can I start in my emotional life, in my intellectual life, in my social life, in my financial life, work life, and physical life? You know the kind of result you've experienced, and you want to know the kind of result you want to experience some more. Okay. And so the third question is, what can I replicate? I'd like to take a few questions from you on if you have any questions on it, I'll be glad to take it. Is it simple enough? Will anybody need support to produce their own goals grid for the year? Now, if we're talking to purely, what do you call it? If we're talking to business owners, there's a goals grid for organizations. What we'll have just done is like we'll have identified the areas of the organization where you have spiritual, emotional, intellectual, social will be areas of the business. And then these same questions will be retained. The only thing that would change in this model, if you have to use it for your business, is the elements on the top of the areas of life. Those are the only thing that would change. So if this is for your personal life, you can even decide to break this down a little further and have a goals grid strictly for your career. All right. But today we're doing it for your entire life. And that's why we have it here. Any questions on the goals grid? Am I alone in this room? Or am I too simple that you have no, I did not complicate matters for you? Please encourage me by asking questions or saying something, because I'm wondering if I am actually making sense. Maybe I'm not. Maybe people are wondering, oh my God, this guy, I just wasted my time. Is that the reason? Is that the experience?
All good. All good.
Thank you, Emperor. Thank you. Okay, I didn't tell the world I call you Emperor. Dr. Ushini, thank you, sir. Thank you. Goals grid. Yes, thank you. Goals grid. All right. So if you understand your goals grid, now the responsibility is in your hand. You will have come to this session only for information if you don't produce this grid. This session will be meaningless to you besides just having informed you if you don't produce this grid. And I'm happy to help you. Anyone who's able to produce this grid in a week, this was the commitment we made, my team and I made yesterday. Thank you, Ebola, for being available to do this. Ebola and I will be willing to sit with you to help you firm up your goals grid the moment you produce it. So if you're able to produce it between 1 week, we're happy to sit with you to perfect it and show you more ways to accomplishing the goals that you set. Having said that, let's now try to wrap up our conversation by looking at the levers of results. What are the things that you need to lean on to see?
Yeah, I unmuted my mic.
What are the things that you want to lean on to see your targets? What are the things that you want to lean on so that you can experience the results that you have envisioned? What are the things that you want to take advantage of or make the most of so that you can produce the kind of results that you want in your life? I want to introduce you to them. Number one, your thoughts. Your thoughts are the influencers of your results. And I've got a few questions here that I think will help you. Friends, ask yourself, what do you think? How do you think? How do you capture information? How is information, the information you capture, how is it validated? How do you store the information? How is the information retrieved? Every information you capture, how do you use them? Your thoughts help you a lot in influencing the kind of results you envision and the kind of result you pursue. Look at the image on the right side of the diagram of the slide. Think for yourself and not of yourself. Think of others, not for others. So the first target of your influence is your thoughts. The second, your actions. How do you conduct yourself? How do you behave? Action, we are told, will always change things. How do you express yourself? How do you engage your capabilities? Are you fully deploying the things that you are capable of doing? Or are you limiting the expression of your capabilities? How do you determine what to do? How do you determine what things to commit your energies towards? How do you determine what things to commit your efforts to? And then finally, how do you assess your activities? Responses to these questions will show you what things to pay attention to influence your results in life. The number three thing that is an influencer of your results are your beliefs. You see, a number of us need to know that our belief is what creates our actual fact. Our realities are created by our beliefs. Somebody has said, seeing is believing. Someone else says, believing is seeing. Someone has said the same thing, the same sentence, and the same set of words. It says, you see what you believe. You see what you believe. Another person says, I believe what I see. You can choose which one. Now, our beliefs, our creeds, our convictions. And I'm asking you today, what are the things you consider when you're going to decide a pursuit? What's your attitude towards a particular matter? What are your priorities in life? What are your values? How do you interpret situations and circumstances? When you know these things, your response to these things will influence the kind of results you have. Number four, your opinions. Well, Dr. Wayne Dyer said, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. If you got a cup in your hand, if you got a mug in your hand, and the handle of the mug gets broken by a mistake, maybe it falls off your hand and it gets broken, do you think that cup is useless? No. You can turn that cup to a flower pot. And what used to be, what the item that was initially useful for drinking water is now useful for planting flowers. Is about perspective. I'm asking you these questions. How do you arrive at a verdict? What sentiments do you nurse when you want to arrive at a decision? And what vantage point do you have before you make a choice out of several options before you? I'm asking you, how do you speculate? If you understand these things, they will influence the way you design your results and pursue your results. The fifth thing are your visions. George Washington Carver said, where there is no vision, there is no hope. Friends, if you are not ambitious, your goals will be too little. My friend Akdelalade here is one man. He's got a very large appetite for success. Very large appetite for success. Very large. Dr. Etuk, he's one man we need to meet. We need to sit with Akdelalade. He's the one. Dr. Etuk still here? No, she's no longer here. Oh my God. We'll take the message to her. He's one man, and everybody here, this is one man you need to listen to. Architect, if you can share your handle with us in the chat so that we can draw from your fountain. Akdelalade is one man who will tell you that you've got to have big, hairy, audacious goals. Dr. Abraham Owosheni, I'm sure you're a beneficiary of the influence of this man, aren't you? I'm sure you are. And I'm also a beneficiary. The greatest beneficiary so far has been Mrs. Alalade. And we envy you, madam. How ambitious are you? How imaginative are you? Do you forecast things? You see, if you're able to address these issues, your goals will be different. the results you want to experience will be absolutely different. Absolutely different. All right? You ask yourself, do you have plans? Is it the vision that you have not documented, you cannot get it executed? The vision that you have not documented, you cannot get it executed. The vision that you have not documented, you cannot get it executed. What are your fantasies? What are your fantasies? You see, years ago, or decades ago, or many centuries ago, or I don't know now, decades ago, the Wright brothers had the fantasy of flying in the air like the birds. Their fantasies became realities. Please don't downplay your children's fantasies. Don't downplay your own fantasies. Don't downplay your colleagues' fantasies, your staff's fantasies, your subordinates' fantasies. Don't downplay, because the fantasies are seeds to creating realities. The results you want to see possibly are birthed in the fantasies you nurse. So I'm asking you today, what are these things for you? They will ultimately influence your expectations. And let's look at experiences, the things that you encounter, the things that you're exposed to. Indira Gandhi says, every new experience brings its own maturity and a greater clarity of vision. How exposed are you? How adventurous have you become? What incidents impress you? What prevailing memories do you have? What situations and circumstances have you endured? All of these things, your response to these things will influence what kind of goals you set, will influence what kind of results you want to see. You know, my mentor, Dr. David Oyedepo, said he once traveled to the United States of America, and he was on the campus of Oral Roberts University. And while he was on that campus, he said to himself, if this can happen here, it can also happen anywhere in the world. If this can happen here, it can happen anywhere in the world. And guess what happened? Covenant University was birthed. Landmark University was birthed. Your exposure influences the results you want to pursue. And so I'm asking you here, improving your exposure, expose yourself, read more, travel more, engage more people, be adventurous, and then you see better results. Now, let's wrap it all up by identifying the levers of success. You need a strategy. We're told that the labor of the fool wearies everyone because he doesn't know how to get to the city. I'm asking you, you must have a plan. You must have an approach. You must have a strategy. You must have a know-how. Number two is information. A few years ago, I bought a book from the library in my university, from the bookshop in my university, titled In Their Time. In Their Time. The book it cost about 3,500 naira. And a young man by name Teacher Osho saw me and said, Captain, he calls me Captain. He said, Captain, that book, I can actually help you get that book at a cheaper price. And I doubted it. But he said, give me the money. I think I gave him about 1,000 naira or so. I gave him that 1,000 naira, and teacher brought me 3 copies of that book. 3 copies of the book. Information. The reason you're possibly selling at a more expensive price, if it is not you increasing your profit margin, maybe because you're buying your raw material or you are sourcing your material from a more expensive place. And there are people who are selling with a larger profit margin because they have bought the material from a place that is inexpensive, relatively cheaper, of the same quality. So information is critical. If you want to see better results, you've got to go for information. Have a large appetite for information. The next lever of success for your result is money. We're told that money answers all things. Money is a defense. Money answers all things. One thing I want to let you know, friends, in this room, is that money increases your options. The more money you have, the more options you have to pursue. Your decisions are limited today because your options are not many. Your decisions are limited today because your options are not many. Money increases options. If you have 500,000 naira and you want to buy a car, yes, you can find a car to buy. But that car, I don't know how far it can go. increase increase the amount of money in your hand. Say increase it to 5 million. With 5 million now, you have more options. Even though you can still buy some cars, but you have an increased pool of options. Now increase that money to 50 million. Then you have quality options, more quality options before you. Money increases the quality of your options. And so it's a lever of the results you want to have. And we have shared earlier on how you can define the things you must target. In another session on personal finance, we'll talk more about how you can raise it, how you can use it, and how you can deploy it. The fourth lever of success is technology. With technology here, we're talking about tools and devices and applications. We're here in this room having this conversation. Oyebola is in the UK, Dr. Okpe is in the UK, and a couple of our friends are outside in different parts of the world. If we never leverage on technology, we will not be here. We possibly never had this conversation, because how would I have had to drag people from Abuja, drag people from Ota, and drag people from Satellite Town where Olushola Amu is, and drag people from Magodo where I am, and bring all of us together. Take Oyebola from Hull City in the UK, and bring her here into a room. Will be limited. So technology is it. And then number 5 is time. One lever of success is time. Whenever you set your goals, relate them to time frames. And this is what we offer you on this call today. For those who will be able to complete their goals grid between now and 1 week time, Oyebola and I will schedule a session with you to work with you to perfect your goals grid. And we will commit to checking up with you once every quarter. So on a quarterly basis, we'll schedule sessions with you to be able to help you see how far you're going in producing better results this year. Because if you don't relate your goals to time frames, you cannot really tell if you're making progress or you are slowing down on things. And finally, the lever of success of people. You need people in your life. Friends, you don't know what you have until you ask those you know. You don't know what you have until you ask those you know. Many of us suffer because we don't know what our network can offer. And I often tell people, if it takes you too long to get what you want, your network is poor. If it takes you too long to get what you want, your network is poor. We've got to know how to make the most of the relationships around us. These are the levers of success and enable us to produce better results. Having said this, friend, I'd like to bring this conversation to a close by letting you know that the people you want to relate with, you can ride on them based on the position they have. They have got positions. Maybe you want to ensure you ride on people who have high positions of influence. You want to lean on people who have results. They have become a rallying point because of the results they possess. And you want to lean on other people because they have a great grip of social influence. You can take the posture of being adversarial, which I call combative. You can be collaborative with those people. You can take the posture of being an expert so that they consult you. Many of us on this call are consultants. You can take the posture of influence of ownership. You co-own a dream and a pursuit with them. You can take a posture of influence on these people by being informative. Let them lean on you because they know you will always have information to share. And you can take a posture of availability, being available when they have things to do, when they have goals to pursue, you make yourself available. That's how you can influence the people around you. People, the problems that people have, when you solve them, they become the rewards you get and ultimately the results you experience. If you must make the most of your relationship with people, I need you to be committed to them. I need you to be consistent in the things you do with them and for them. I need you to be prompt in the things that you do. I need you to deliver top quality for them, excellence. I need you to be curious. Don't always celebrate the success of anyone without trying to find out how they produced it. My friend Akitala Lade will always say to me, resources follow courses. If you are curious about how people have produced results, perhaps the pursuit they had was what triggered the resource and the resources that they got. And so if you want to influence more people by engaging those posts of influence I identified, be committed to these people, be consistent, be prompt, produce top quality results, and then be curious. In conclusion, friends, there's no better time to take action on all the things that we have talked about today. I'm asking you to rise up. I'm speaking to you now as both individuals, professionals, and entrepreneurs that you are. I'm asking you to reinforce what works. There are things that have produced results for you last year. You've got to reinforce them. Don't drop them. Number two, investigate your investments. Whatever things you've done before, whatever places that you have committed your efforts, that you have committed yourself, go and check it again. There's still value in it. Scale up your operations. I'm asking you to be more resilient. I'm asking you here, by that decision, I'm asking you to improve your capacity because opportunities are coming and they'll place more demands on your abilities. I'm asking you to entrench a credible culture. How do you get things done? What are your values? What are your habits? I'm asking you also to upskill yourself, upskill the people around you, upskill your staff members, because you are not good enough to remain the way you are. You and I are not good enough to remain the way we are. We are not good enough to remain the way we are. Okay? And then I'm asking you finally to promote values that leave a legacy. Walter J. Lippmann says, the final test of a leader is that he leaves behind him in other men the capacity and the will to carry on. I'm asking you not to pursue the status of a VIP, or to chase to become a VAP, a value-adding personality. Here are a few book recommendations I have for you. How Successful People Think by John Maxwell. In addition to all the books I recommended in the course of the conversation, Winning with People, because you need to know how to win with people. 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, because you're not good enough to remain the way you are. And 5 Levels of Leadership, that talks about how much of influence you bring to this world. Having said that, I want to say a very big thank you to everyone for coming. I hope I have added value. We'll now be open to take comments, contributions as we close this session. Thank you, and thank you for coming. Thank you very much, Ebola. Thank you. I received the applause. It's encouraging. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Abraham. Thank you. Ebola, I want to yield the floor to you now to take questions and comments and clarifications and then next steps. Thank you, Shola. Thank you. Thank you, Ayomide. Thank you, Emperor. Thank you so much. Thank you. Dolapo, thank you. Oyebola, are you able to conduct this?
Yes, please. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, everyone, for joining this session. I hope you got much value as you expected. And like Dr. rightly said, we're expecting that you go back, work on your goals for the year, and then get back to us, and then we'll see how we can work together. But that being said, please, if you have any question, contribution, you can drop it in the chat or mute yourself to just ask your question. Anybody? How did this all, we can also take feedbacks. How did this session go for you? Doctor, I think we need to call names.
These are masters in this room here. I mean, it's when you have this kind of people that you sit with, you possibly just go and I don't know. I don't know. I mean, how are you? Are you there? Okay, the emperor wants to speak. He has unmuted his mic.
Oh,
Well, I think just to appreciate Dr. Oludayo for the session. It was quite insightful. And I think we are looking forward for further sessions. But I think the insights shared today are very holistic, and I'm sure will help every one of us to produce better results. So I want to say congratulations for this session, and thank you for taking out the time to be very thorough and exhaustive in your presentation. Thank you very much. Well done.
Thank you, sir. That was the emperor. Thank you, Ms. Oludayo, for your comments. Thank you. Oyebola will be sharing the slides with us in the email after now. Any other comments, please? Okay, there's a question. Oyebola, look into the chat.
yes, we have a question in the chat from Ayomide.
Okay, Ayomide is asking, how do you become a VP to people of great influence? Oh my goodness. That's another master class or seminar you're asking for. Principally, right? The way to add, see, and it clearly the answer is in the question. How do you become a value-adding personality to people of great influence? Number one for me would be to consider, to first of all identify why, your purpose. Why do you want to do this? Are you doing it because you just want to be in their books, you just want to be on their corridors? Sometimes some of us have tried to be close to people of influence just for the sake of some ulterior motives. But if peradventure you want to add value to them, one of the things you need to do is identify what their priorities are. What are the things that they want to see as results? When you identify them, be a connector to the resources that makes that pursuit possible. If you have someone who wants to build a school, okay, let me give you an example. A friend of mine reached out to me yesterday, or I was with him, was it yesterday? 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I was with him 2 days ago. And he was saying, oh, our store has just moved to a new location. I was giving me information about some of the things they need to produce results in the new location. And I said to him, well, I've got 1 or 2 people I think you should consider. You should consider as the designers in your new store. And right away, I called 2 friends of mine to help me get the identities of these individuals. I got the identity of one of the people I was recommending. And then I reached out to her immediately also to say, hey, there's an opportunity here, and I think you can explore it. So when you help people achieve their goals by connecting them to the resources they require, you are helping them because you are becoming a value-adding personality. Number 2 is when you show people how they can maximize their capabilities. Somebody who sings and you want to help him, I mean, he's a good singer. He is an influential singer. You want to give him more platforms and more opportunities to express that potential. It's a way to also add value to people. I know a young man who draws. Joshua Ibanjo is on this call. Joshua has always given me gifts of artwork. He always draws me. In fact, in my room right now, right in front of me, as I'm looking here in the room, I see all the drawings of myself, my wife, and my children. And during the holiday, I asked Joshua to draw one of my clients. And I gave the client this as a gift, an A1 sized drawing. And my client loved it so much. His wife also loved it. And then his wife said, well, we will not put this thing in the living room. except I have my own. And guess what? Joshua got an opportunity to produce for that woman. I mean, for that man. So he produced for his wife. And maybe I should tell you this. In Joshua getting to do that, I demanded from Joshua that I wanted him to do this drawing in 3 days. Perhaps before now, Joshua said that drawing would take him about, Joshua, how long did you say it would take you again to produce the artwork?
A month.
1 month. And I demanded, you said what?
1 month,
you said?
Yeah.
Yes, 1 month to draw. And I said, no, Joshua, I need this in 3 days. He did mine, the first one I ordered for, in 3 days. He did the second in 3 days. And whether you like it or not, my client, who is a person of influence, now knows Joshua because I gave Joshua an opportunity to express his potential towards that man. And I also stretched Joshua's capabilities. I stretched his abilities. Now, if Joshua was doing his artwork for 200,000 naira per piece, and he would do that in 1 month, one thing for 200,000. Now that he can do it in 3 days, that means he can do about times 10 in a month maximum. All right, and that means Joshua can earn times 10 of what he used to earn if he has gigs in that manner. And so 2 ways: connect the people to the resources that enable them to fulfill their goals. And number 2, present them opportunities to use their potential. I hope that helps you. Thank you. All right, in the absence of any other thing, I would like to say thank you so much for coming. Oyebola and I are grateful for the privilege of sharing and sitting with you for 2 days. A number of you were not here yesterday because you opted for today. And I can tell you that what we have here today is a combination of the things you got yesterday. If there was to be a third day, I'm sure it'll be an improved version. Thank you so much. We're grateful to have you. We will be looking forward to you engaging us. If you have done your goals grid in 1 week, please share with us. Oyebola and I will schedule a session, a 1-hour session with you to help you perfect it and share more insights into how you can use it to produce more results. And we will check in with you. We'll commit to checking with you every quarter to see how you're going. But remember, you are absolutely responsible for the outcomes of your life. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you so much, sir. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Good night, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor, and the team that put this up together. Thank you so much. Everyone have a good night. Thank you.